Welcome to the Midweek Refuel with Lupus in Color, where we strive to educate, inspire, encourage, and empower lupus warriors all around the world. Today, I want to talk about fear and what that means for us on our lupus journey. For many years, I looked at fear as false evidence appearing real. And I try not to allow that fear to rule me, But I can remember when I was first diagnosed with lupus, how much fear was in me, how much I feared not knowing what was going on in my body, how much I feared this new diagnosis and what it would do to change my life. And sometimes that fear paralyzed me. It put me in a state of discourse with myself. It put me in a state of a little bit of depression. It put me in a state where, as it's like, why me? What did I do so bad to deserve this lupus? And I'm sure many of you have had that question in your head every now and again. But that fear really, really can stop you where you are and keep you in a way that is not productive for you. So when I was first diagnosed, I didn't see anybody like me here in my town. I had just moved to my town maybe 2 years prior and was working and doing all the things that you're supposed to do as an adult. And when I got diagnosed, I feared the unknown. I feared not having someone to talk to. And that's how Lupus in Color came about, because I feared it so much that I did not want anyone to have that fear and not have someone to talk to about it. Now, look, fear is real. Fear is going to happen. Sometimes fear protects you. What happens is that when you are in a fearful mode, if you allow it to minimize your socialization, if you allow it to put you in a deep depression, if you allow it to immobilize you, then it becomes a problem. And someone asked me actually today, how did you get out of that fear? You know what? I faced it. I stated I was fearful, and then I made an action plan to get out of the fear and to find a way for it not to creep back in. And I know that sounds very easy to do. It actually really was not very easy. Confronting your fears, confronting yourself in those fears is very difficult. And sometimes you need some help. Sometimes you need therapy. Sometimes you need to speak to a pastor. Sometimes you need to speak to a loved one to get those fears out. But it is very real to be fearful on this lupus journey. And it's not something that goes away. You know what I mean? It quells. It's just like lupus. Lupus will quiet down and simmer down for you. But that fear always lives in you. Because why? Because lupus is so unpredictable. When one thing is fixed, another thing breaks, right? So that fear comes back up. So I guess my point with this midweek refuel is that I understand that you are fearful on this lupus journey. Just don't let it immobilize you and put you into a fit of depression that you can't get out of. And if you need extra help, you need to go find that help, whether it be in therapy, whether it be with a pastor, whether it be with someone who you love and trust with your thoughts and your feelings. But what you do have to do is to make sure that you verbalize that you are fearful. Look, I don't fear every single day. But when something goes wrong in my body, or when I have a flare or something like that, that fear creeps in. That fear creeps in. I get afraid. I sometimes pull back. I I I I just don't want to do anything. But then after I verbalize what's going on and why I'm fearful, I can then make a plan to figure out how to get out of that fear and understand myself better as I get better, even though it's not better right now. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So take this with you. If you take anything from this particular midweek refuel, it's okay to have fear. It's okay to verbalize that fear. It's okay to get help to go through and get through those fearful thoughts. What I don't want you to do is stay in them. I don't want you to sit in them and ruminate in it and allow it to stop you from living beyond lupus. Because even though lupus is very unpredictable, the reality is it's important for us to live well beyond it. And the only way we can do that is if we're facing those fears, we're talking about our emotions, we're releasing what's inside of us, and we're finding the correct help that we need to get through it. So I hope that if you are fearful today, that you know that you will be okay. And how do you know that? Because you have made it 100% of the time that you thought you couldn't. And when that fear was on top of you, you thought you would never make it. But here you are today, sitting, standing, breathing, thinking, heart pumping blood through your body, and you are okay. So take a deep breath, release it, and talk to somebody about how you're feeling. Release those emotions and don't allow the fear to sit and ruminate in you. Thank you for always tuning into the Midweek Refuel. I hope that something I say here touches your heart and helps you to cope a little better with lupus. But as I say all the time, as with anything, use the grocery store method. Take what you want off the shelf, share it with someone else, and leave the rest for someone else if it doesn't resonate with you so that they can take it and share it with someone else. So thank you for always tuning in. I hope you have a good rest of your day and a good rest of your week. Bye.